Hey, I'm Alex Radical from Board Game Co, and this is News and Week in Review, where we're going to go through a variety of news pieces, the games we covered this past week, other videos of the week, all of that and more. Although this week I don't have the Creator Spotlight, probably should be back next week, we'll see. But let's go ahead and jump in with something extra that I do have, which is our winner from the One Sharp Joe Marvel United giveaway that I did. To that end, the very short version of this, before I announce the winner and all that, usual note, please do not give money to people who are commenting on your videos, commenting on any of your posts, and or people asking you to send them money via Telegram or WhatsApp or any of that. Just reach out to me directly at alex@boardgameco.com. I will also try to reply to your comment as well, but that's the only communication you should really have, especially if any money is changing hands. Also, I don't believe any money should be changing hands on this one at all. This is a giveaway for the Marvel United One Sharp Joe insert that I did a full video for, and the winner for this is at the Rubik 3. At the Rubik 3. Again, I will be replying to your comment, hopefully, but go ahead and make sure to send me an email at alex@boardgameco.com so that I can get you set up with your prize and all of that. And with that, let's go ahead and dive into the week in review. We do have a bunch of news pieces to go over here, starting off with another call out to a Stonemaier piece. In general, like, I read all of Stonemaier Games' blogs, all of Stonemaier Games' blogs. I generally like his articles and I find them very useful, but the ones that I find even more generally interesting are usually the ones that I share. So sometimes I'll share, one every other week, and sometimes I'll go months before I share another article. It really comes down to which articles they are. This week he had one about the number one change you want for the tabletop game industry and community. The first one that I saw was the number one change you want for the tabletop game industry: make fewer games. I've talked about this as well, but I think all of us who want to keep up with everything but feel that we can't, feel an internal sense of pressure, and that pressure could be solved if there just would be less games. It's not a practical solution to tell other people to stop creating because we have no self-control, but it is a solution that certainly resonates with me, and that's part of why I want to share this over here. The number one change you want for the tabletop game community: we have constructive criticism and questions instead of negativity and toxicity, as well as more empathy and fewer complaints about fulfillment speed. Both of these, in general, a very clear aspect of these is very important to hit on, is neither of these are asking anyone to give up standards. They are asking people to communicate in ways that are either more empathetic, more understanding, or generally more solutions driven as opposed to more toxicity driven. It's a long conversation. This is a brief touch upon. I think I did a good job in the article. I'm calling out the article because I thought it was good. Go ahead and read that. Links to everything down below. That's from Stonemaier Games. We have over on Board Game Wire an article on TikTok that got shut down for a day? Less than 24 hours? I'm not a TikTok user, either as a creator or as a consumer, so this is something that doesn't affect me, but that's impossible to acknowledge that. It's impossible not to acknowledge that it affects a lot of other people who aren't me and aren't you if you don't watch TikTok. There's a lot of people who use TikTok, both as creators and consumers. I am friends with people whose incomes and lifestyles are based on their TikTok content creation, so it's a big deal. It's certainly a big deal. I can't imagine what would happen to me if YouTube shut down. I have a presence on Instagram. That's the only other place I really am. I don't know what I would do if YouTube just went away. I don't know. I'd play more games, I guess. I don't know what I would do, and I can't imagine the anxiety and frustration around creators not just having their entire lives kind of held over them. Either way, this is a good article from Board Game Wire, kind of talking about some of those creators and their content. It's both a good way to learn about new creators if you don't already know, as well as just to kind of get that insight into, partially some of the anxiety or just stress about having your life held in the balance of this craziness. Either way, that's a little article from Board Game Wire on TikTok. Then we had over here Open Owl Gaming announced their next Open Owl Studios announced their lineup for 2025. They have Sprites and Sprouts. We have Threshold. We have Mythwind, and then we have more Mythwind, the Herbalist over here. A bunch of campaigns coming to you from them in 2025. Similarly, we have Awaken Realms Next is going to be announcing their upcoming campaigns. February 27th looks like when they'll have Awaken Realms Next over here. We have Image Number 1. Image number 2, image number 3, image number 4, image number 5, and image number 6, which I will say, the image, I'm just saying image, I will say that's more images than they usually have in their AR Next over here, so go ahead and post all your comments down below about what you think is coming from Awaken Realms Next. I know some of the answers, and I'm not going to comment to any of your replies, or at least I'll be vague. That's a good guess. If I say that's a good guess, it's meaningless. I just want to be very clear. I'm going to say that no matter what you say, whether you say it's going to be I can't finish that sentence. I can't finish the sentence. I'm going to say it's a good guess. Either way, moving on over here. We have over on BoardGameOfTheYear.org, a site I definitely recommend checking out if you want aggregated lists of your creators' favorite games. If you want to see the #1 game of the year, but not based off of me, them, her, shim, like any of these things, if you just want to see an aggregate of that, they have you covered. But they've also continuously adding more stats, more ways to check things out. Now you can go to your favorite creators and see their all-time list in terms of organized. So they just have a lot more information, tools to utilize. I have myself over here just because I pulled that up. But there's a lot of different stats and data you can find out around your favorite board game of the year or somebody else's favorite board game of the year, or checking out the rankings for the best games of all time or of any individual year, either by checking out by creator, by game, any of that information. Just a regular call out to their site to talk about it. We also have Bezier Games. Rebel Princess Happily Never After, an upcoming expansion to Rebel Princess, a game that is excellent, that I just played. Oh my gosh, I forgot to put it on my list. It's on my list of games that I also, long story short, I need to add it to a list of games I played that I haven't logged yet, because I just played Rebel Princess and I did not log it yet. Immaterial. Rebel Princess Happily Never After, an expansion to Rebel Princess that I am definitely intrigued by because Rebel Princess is fantastic. Then we have over here a bunch of articles. We have an article about is Gamefound #1 board game platform from Gamefound. We have over here Board Game Wire, an article on Gamefound and crowdfunding and Kickstarter. We have an article over on Polygon about Gamefound. Gamefound finishes 2024 with 6 of the top 10 tabletop games. We have an article on Polygon around Kickstarter's post-pandemic tabletop slump slowed in 2024. Basically 5 different articles or so down here. I will try to link to all of them as well. I think there's also one by Kickstarter. I'll link to that one as well. I'm not going to heavily talk about these because this would be a large and nuanced conversation, and as somebody who does work for Gamefound, I'm CMO of Gamefound, in case you didn't know that, I don't want to get into commentary on this without all the appropriate disclaimers, so I'm just saying here's a bunch of articles, all touting the various successes of both Kickstarter and Gamefound from different perspectives, both Kickstarters, Gamefounds, and a variety of news sites commenting on those things. So I'll link to all those down below, but just end of year stats around, well, the platforms. I probably will be doing a full video around Gamefound shortly, but again, I don't mind going into Gamefound. I don't want to do it as a brief news coverage when I clearly have that bias in place. So I'm just saying these articles exist. Check them out. They're favorable to both sites. Past that, we have over here, in less favorable news, we have over on Board Game Wire, the end looms for Mythic Games as company gives up trying to deliver the Monster Apocalypse Kickstarter and hands the files over to Privateer Press. They go more into this in the article, but the very short version is it does feel like Mythic Games is getting less and less likely to deliver anything else that they ever have remaining. So if you've been holding out hope, I'm sorry, it really does feel like this is the end of that hope conversation. Maybe not the end, but like we're down to the very last wire of any possible remaining vestiges of hope. It's not a fun situation, but that's just kind of a minor update on Mythic for those of you who are holding out hope. There's less reason to do so now. In slightly better news, we have Asmodee. Asmodee is continuing to do well. They just went ahead and they're listed on the Nasdaq in Stockholm over there, so they're now publicly traded, which is something new for them. So if you want to buy all your shares in Asmodee in the anticipation that it will continue to grow, you go do you. I don't dabble in the stock market. I dabble in mutual funds only because I combine mutual funds. This is a longer conversation around the nature of investment advice. I am not the right person for investment advice, although I do have investment advice, just, with all the appropriate disclaimers that it's not my professional area of expertise, just an area that I know enough to do what I do, which is personally I invest in mutual funds, although possibly maybe I should have bought Nvidia when the stock kind of collapsed in it a few weeks ago. I did debate buying an individual stock. I chose not to because I want to stick with my system. But anyways, this is a random conversation. Asmodee, you can now buy shares of Asmodee if you want to. That's kind of what's going on there. And that is what we have for our news of the week, which means it's time to dive into, because we are skipping our creator of the week. I actually had a topic of the week as well. I might do that next week instead. But either way, I want to go into a bit more and research a bit more before I talk about it. But we'll do that next week. Anyways, we'll tentatively do it next week. As far as the videos this past week, we had several videos going up this past week. We had, well, as usual, we have several videos. We had 10 ways to make money as a content creator. This is an older video I filmed that finally went up, but basically 10 ways to make money as a content creator. How does a board game content creator make money? I talked about the different opportunities and avenues available to them. It's a video that seemed to have very much resonated very well with a lot of content creators, and then was viewed less by other people, which makes sense, frankly. Although I will say, if you are consuming content from board game channels, it probably does help to know the various possible incentives they have, the monetary incentives and possible conflicts and biases and all those. It's worth knowing that. But either way, you can check out that video if you want. I will probably be doing another video around this topic because, Well, because of a conversation I had with a friend, and because of a channel that did a different video. So I'm probably going to be filming an entire new video around board game content creation and the monetary problems within, but that's not today. That's future Alex's video. Past that, we had the best 10 prototypes I played in 2024. I did a video, best 10 prototypes I played. This was a replacement for my 2 back or not to back, because I was at level up retreat, and I didn't have 2 back or not to back this week. So instead, I told you about my best 10 prototypes that I played this past year. There are some bangers in there, some very solid games that I am looking forward to the final production copies showing up. Additionally, later that week, we had how many games have lasted 10 years in my collection. How many games have lasted at least 10 years in my collection? There were like 17 or something like that. There's a decent number from my 275-ish. I think that's roughly the number I currently am at. From my 275-ish games in my collection, around 17 of them have been here for 10 plus years. Sometimes some of them have gone out and then come back in, but they are still here and they've been here for quite some time. So if you want to check out games that really truly stand the test of time in my collection, as opposed to the Cult of the New and a game that's exciting for 2 years and then leaves, these are 17 games that I definitely stand by to a large extent. And then, speaking of the exact opposite of that, we finish up the week with games leaving the collection, the usual video of the games leaving the collection, although this month was more the games passing through. Because I just did a end of year purge, there were very few, I think there were no games that were really leaving the collection. It was the games that are not staying from the games I recently covered. That was Friday's video. Past that, as far as the games I covered this past week, as usual, there are several. We had a Brass How to Play done by Asaf on the channel. His channel is Easy Board Games, and he occasionally does how to play videos for Board Game Co. But if you want to check out a Brass Birmingham How to Play video, you can go ahead and check that out. I think Brass is a fantastic game. Brass Birmingham is my personal preferred one, and it's one that I still have as well. We also had a review going up from Minos, a fantastic Euro game. I give it a 4.5 out of 5, coming to you from Board and Dice, designed by Stan Kodonsky, using the system he has in Rurik, which I just played this past week, and oh my gosh, it's so good. Immaterial will come back to that at a later date. That is a Minos review, 4.5 out of 5. We had a review for Casinopolis, a great game. It's another, like, it's a great game. It falls completely in line with Sprawlopolis and Naturopolis and Agropolis, but I think my current ranking is probably Sprawlopolis still, then Casinopolis because of how different it is, then Naturopolis, then Agropolis, because Agropolis just, the theme pulls me in the least, and I'd rather play Naturopolis and Sprawlopolis over it, but Casinopolis did do something that I felt was newer compared to the other games in the system, so definitely check it out. It had some small critiques against it, and the theme doesn't really do it for me, but I did appreciate the new twist on the way the scoring system works. Then we had a review going up for Kaiser, Cucumber, and the Gangs of Mechanical Corners, or something like that. The title is insanely long. It's a light, fun game of trying to get in your strategic movement and manipulation of the board and the cards better than the other players. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. It's fun. It does have a little bit too much last turn dependency, but it is a good kind of a party/strategy game in terms of just giving you a fun little experience. Past that, we had a Win or Die playthrough and preview on the channel this week. Not a review on that one, but my general thoughts on Win or Die is coming to you from, oh my gosh, from Wales Entertainment. It's a crowdfunding campaign that I believe launched already, but you can go ahead and check that out. But it's basically a Stratego-like skirmish game, a game that you have that kind of fog of war element of not seeing each other's pieces, but then with more army building and building out your units, and then tactically planning how to approach the battlefield and use all the abilities to your advantage as much as possible. I definitely enjoyed my game of it. It's a fun system of trying to figure out your combination of abilities. At the same time, I think in general, skirmish games like that are usually less games that I love. Instinctive rating is probably a 3.5, maybe a 3. I'd have to play it more and see how much army building goes on, but probably a 3.5. I definitely enjoyed the gameplay. I just think these kinds of games are less my personal cup of tea as far as skirmish systems go. There are some that have stood out for me, but it's rare. It's hard for them to really stick with me and stay in my collection. Past that, we had a review from Massive Darkness Dungeons of Shadowreach, if I'm not mistaken. Massive Darkness Dungeons of Shadowreach, I did a review for that. It is a 4.5 out of 5, same rating as the Massive Darkness 2 Hellscape that I covered. It basically does a few small quality of life adjustments as far as difficulty levels, and gives you a new theme, which some people may prefer. I kind of like the theme of Hellscape, and then it gives you new various classes to engage with, of which I definitely enjoyed the ones I played with, but I didn't get a chance to play with all of them because my prototype didn't have all of them. So overall, it's basically more Massive Darkness 2, although it's just called Massive Darkness at this point, but overall, definitely enjoyed it. I think the main benefit of it is the difficulty adjustments, but you can find some of those on Board Game Geek anyway. I thought I need to post that. I forgot to post the link in that video. I was supposed to do that. I'll try to do that if I remember. But either way, that's a 4.5 out of 5 on Massive Darkness Dungeons of Shadowreach. And then lastly, there was an Elden Ring unboxing that was briefly on the channel this week, and then it kind of disappeared because I missed the note about the fact that there was a embargo on that. So that will show up again in a week or two, probably titled like re-upload or something to warn you. It's the exact same video going up in a week or two, just, you know, just with the embargo properly followed this time around. Anyways, that is what we have for the games I covered this past week, which brings us to the videos that we'll have today. Today we're going to have a review for Neon Rain from Chip Theory Games going up later today, as well as a review of An Age Contrived. The expansion for An Age Contrived will be going up on the channel as well. As far as next week, we should have several videos as usual, but we will have 8 games if you like Clue, or maybe we'll have 8 games if you like Clue, but hopefully I'll be going up on Sunday. This is part of my ongoing series of games of 8 games if you like X. And in this case, X is Clue, because somebody asked me a few weeks ago, somebody said, hey, what are games that I should try out if my family likes Clue? And I was like, I will get back to you. And so I filmed a video, and he hasn't seen the video, but I did give him the list of 8 games, so there is at least that. And then also, we'll hopefully have coming up my 2023 Hidden Gems, as my ongoing series of videos that I do at the beginning of the year, covering games from the full year back, not 2024, but 2023. We should have our 2023 Hidden Gems video going up later this week. As far as the games on the table, as usual, these are games I hope to be playing this week. We have Federation, which I'm actually in the middle of a game on Board Game Arena, but I hope to be tabling it as well in person. Got a chance to play it at Level Up for the second time, technically, and I like it. I have thoughts. We'll give you my thoughts in a full review, but I need to get a few more games under my belt first. We have Daybreak, which I have successfully played several times on Board Game Arena, and I hope to be playing it in person for the first time because I really like my plays of it. Surprisingly, like, it was not on my radar at all, but I will hopefully be playing it more and then giving you my thoughts and opinions on it. But I guess you already know that I'm kind of charmed by it so far. We have Evenfall, which I have played and have not reviewed. Hope to be getting some more plays of it this week. Again, just in that process of trying to get more plays on certain games so I can give you better informed thoughts than a single play. Then we have Super Skill Pinball over here, which I haven't played this yet. I keep meaning to, and I keep reading the rules and then keep not tabling it. This week is definitely the week that it maybe happens. It's definitely totally the week that it maybe happens. And then we have Top Tier over here, a game from who is it from? From Indie Board and Cards, giving you that kind of party game vibes of ranking stuff. You get to rank things based off of, like, you get to rank things based off categories. So for example, the back of the box is, you know, come up with their names and then rank who would be the best cult leader, and you have to rank like S tier and A tier and B tier and all that usual internet ranking things. It's basically taking a internet trend of the ranking S system or whatever it is and then turning it into a party game. So I am intrigued by that. That is going to be Top Tier. Anyways, that is your week in review. Until next time, I am Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you have an excellent week, and as always, I hope you have a good one.